So we did lose, it did start losing stability, I noticed there. So I am going to add on some itty bit. I think I can get away with just the basic tail fins down here at the bottom. Like so. And that's for the, yeah. I mean, it's always deceptive because this great big fairing is a lot of drag too. And you know what else? I noticed it came apart up here. I'm going to use a little bit of auto strutting. I'm going to grab this and auto strut that to, I'm going to go to the grandparent part. I think that's a safer, and that just clumps all of these fairings into, oops, where am I doing? There it is. That just clumps all of these fairings sort of into one part, if you know what I mean. Oh, that one's already been done. This one. Grandparent part. And, oh, and you know what? Right down. Oh, we'll live with this. I think that connection might be okay. All right, so that, okay, we're going to give this another test. So save that, and we'll run our simulator again. I'm being asked, what am I trying to do? I have 4 satellites that I'm going to want to put into orbit around Kerbin, equally spaced in an orbit with a period of 80 minutes. That's the goal. So again, we'll run launch 080 and so it came apart. Hopefully this time it won't come apart. Do people like the wireframes for this, or would you rather me turn them off? Let me know in the chat, or if you're watching this at a later time, you can let me know in the comments. Makes it a little harder to see, but it makes it very, very clear that this is a simulation. I'm getting told in the craft that Way of Crazy is saying that my guide, my orbital craft, that's my most popular video. I'm assuming you're referring to Wea. Yeah, I made that video a few years ago, and it flies. I mean, I had no trouble flying it, but maybe that wasn't the best thing for a tutorial video, to build something that I have no trouble flying and build something that everybody should have no trouble flying. If you are on that video, there is a pinned comment saying how you can make it more stable at the top of the comments of that video, or you can look at my more recent series where I redo the getting into your first orbit tutorial video again and build something that I think is a lot more easy to fly. So if you, but I do get the comment that people are having trouble with it flipping out. Yeah, well, I didn't intend it to be that way. I built it, it flew for me, and then I realized, you know what? That was one of my earliest tutorials. I realized, yeah, you know, just because I can fly it. And I'm not trying to brag or anything here. I've played this game for over 10 years. So, you know, it's a little different, my experience, than other people's experience. Okay, I do like all the colors on this here. It looks very weird. Okay, let's see. So, I think we are past sort of our max Q, our moment of greatest aerodynamic pressure, and we didn't flip out or break apart, so that's a good sign. But in the meantime, I think we're doing okay. My plane tutorial is great. Well, thank you, Wea. I got a new plane tutorial, too. Those tutorials are like 2 or 3 years old, and they were back when I made my first tutorial videos, so take them for what they are. I learned from people's comments from those, one of which was that a lot of people do have trouble with them flipping out. All right, I think this is doing pretty good. The internet keeps dying. I'm hoping it's not on my end. ZOMG saying his internet is dying on him all the time. I'm hoping that's him, not me. Not that I would hope that on anybody, but if it's me, it's happening to everybody. Oh, look at this. It's already Oh my gosh. This thing definitely has some... So it just cut the thrust and could no longer hold that prograde vector. And it cut the thrust. Oh, no, it aborted because it... Okay, shoot. Shoot. No, it aborted the thrust. Okay. So I'm going to have to give it more thrust on the bottom end. Ah, that's my launch script. It didn't like it felt it was too far off. Okay, let's terminate. I thought it maybe reached apoapsis. No, it was too far off of the prograde vector. It didn't like it. And my stupid script went, nuh-uh-uh. Me no like what's happening here. Me gonna abort. So, the solution to that is more thrust. This is taking longer than I would have guessed. So let's put this up to 1.38 launch thrust. See what that does. This is taking a little bit of guessing now. This is a perfect example of something that if I was doing it manually, I would have just kept going. Maybe that's what I'll end up doing. But now I'm kind of, oops, nope. Now I want to get it to work with my program. If you're having trouble with it flipping out on you and having trouble with aerodynamic stability, although it's less fuel efficient, one solution to that is to not pitch over so quickly, to go up more steeply and get yourself out of that lower, thicker part of the atmosphere more quickly. All right, third time's a charm, right, everybody? Third time's a charm. Let's see. Being asked in the what's the current mission from William? Current mission is there are 4 infrared telescopes on these things. I want to insert them into high orbit about Kerbin, all equally spaced from each other. They don't have to be equally spaced from each other, but I kind of want to do that. But right now we're just in the testing phase of this because they take up a lot of room, and that is one ginormous fairing all over them. Well, I'm glad you made it there, Brennan. Which version of KSP? I'm playing the most recent version of KSP, 1.12.3, the final version of KSP. So now with more thrust here on here, this should be sticking on that prograde vector better. Let's see. Are SSTOs even practical in real life? Well, there doesn't exist a real life one. It's all about engine efficiency. It's about getting some engine that is reasonably efficient both in the atmosphere and in a vacuum, and that is no small task. To be honest, I think in the real world, the most efficient system is what you're seeing from SpaceX. They're recovering most of their equipment. It would be wonderful if they could recover that upper stage. But the problem with an SSTO, and this is the same trouble with the space shuttle, quite frankly, is all of those wings and fuselage and extra strength and all the stuff you have to do to make that thing be able to glide back down to the surface, that is weight. And weight means you got to make it bigger and more expensive in order to get that thing out into space. You know, a rocket like the Falcon 9 is... doesn't have nearly all of that infrastructure that it has to carry up, yet it still comes back and lands and is reusable. It still is. I can see it drifting off of this prograde vector. I could probably adapt the program so it doesn't do that. At 40 kilometers, I don't want to adapt the program though. At 40 kilometers, it's going to lock onto prograde, and that should end the problem of it wanting to... Look how far it's from the prograde vector. It does not like that, I can guarantee it. Okay, now it's going to lock the prograde at 40. No, it aborted again. Oh, okay, I'm just going to fly this. Just going to fly it. No, I don't want to fiddle with it anymore. Let's just restart the simulation. We're going to close KOS. It's going to be manual. A manual because my script is not good enough to handle this whacked out rocket. Okay, Z there. And I'm just going to, punch it. Off we go. And I'm going to go up fairly straight, like a fairly steep ascent. Put that on there. Because I know aerodynamically this thing is questionable, and if I drift too far from the prograde air, I'm going to start knocking over now a little bit. If I drift too far from that prograde vector, it ain't going to like it. I can guarantee that. Let's lock that onto prograde. Try and keep it right on a heading of 90 degrees. I'm just going to kind of gingerly coax this thing into orbit. It needs coaxing. It needs gentle, loving care. I'm going up very straight. Oh, no, 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 no. Oh, this is what happens when I... Okay, let's terminate. Okay, we got to think about this. That was my mistake. Yeah, bigger fins is likely the solution. Also, just being more gentle on the way up. So, what is my delta V? 4160. It should be fine. Yes, I should be fine. Should be lots. So we're going to go to bigger fins. I don't want the air. I don't think control is a problem. I just think... Here, let's go with these fellas. I don't need control surfaces because I got this gimbaled engine. That should be fine. And I'm going to go back to reducing this thrust some more. Oh my gosh. 52. Okay, that's fine. Save this. Yeah. Oh, no. I keep wanting to launch. Okay. It's gonna do it. Gonna do it. This is the one. How is the center of mass and center of lift? Brandon says, I'm sure they're terrible. So we're just gonna have to be careful. You can't 100% trust the center of lift and center of mass that it shows you in the VAB. I know ginormous fairings. I mean, I could put on the aerodynamic overlay and we can actually take a look, but I know, we're going to close all this, I know that this ginormous fairing is one big giant lifting problem. It's there's just a crap ton of drag up at the top here. And that's what throws it off. So as soon as you start coming off of that prograde vector a little bit too much, especially if you get outside of the little yellow circle, it's going to want to, that drag is just going to want to pull it all the way around. So, but I'm bound and determined this stinker is going to do it. It's going to fly for me. And I'm just going to kind of, there, lock it on prograde. No more mucking about. I don't care what the ascent profile is. I don't care about any of that. I want to keep it on a heading of about 90 though. But I'm not going to try. I'm coming up very steeply, but I don't care. I want it to just stay on prograde. Stay on prograde. There we go. Stay on prograde and everything should be fine. Oh, for goodness sakes. Okay, that's not fine then. Wow. Alright, it's time to get... That time I did nothing. I didn't touch the controls. It was just locked prograde. Does KSP calculate drag differently for fairing? I don't know exactly what it does, but I know in the VAB, like this center of drag way down here, it's only looking clearly at the fins. It's not considering all of this stuff up here at all. I can tell from where that ball is. There's no way that's where the center of drag is. Absolutely none. So, let's see here. More fins. Maybe I should get into the control surfacey ones. I mean, it's not going to hurt. Oh, let's take a look at what we got. We got relative wing area 0.65. This one's relative wing area. These ones have a bigger relative. Yeah, it's clearly only showing me the drag from these guys. So this is a useless ball that's not really helping at all. So we're just gonna have to just deal. I'm gonna turn the authority limiter down on these. Is there an extra texture on these? Oh, that's better. I really shouldn't be worrying about texture when I can't even get it to fly, but you know, there it is. I know what I should do. I got me a plan. I got me a plan. We're going to use the best of both worlds here. I'm going to run my launch script because it certainly did fine for the first bit of all this. And then I'm going to take control. That is what I'm going to do. Now, before I go any further, I'm going to put SAS on, and I'm going to throttle this up a bit. Because when you abort from the script, it reverts back to the state it was in, so I definitely want to have all that in. So what I'm going to do is let the script deal with the first part, because it seemed to do that very, very well, and then I'll deal with the later part. How's that for an idea? Ha ha ha. No dummy here. No dummy here. Yeah, those vector engines, those sort of space shuttle-like engines. Yeah, they do have an insane vector range. That is true. I'm hoping this is going to be okay. See, I could put on aerodynamic overlay. Or is that just... I don't think that helps. Let's keep that off. So what we're going to do is let it handle the whole top bit of this, and then I'm going to take control from it. That's going to be the plan. That is going to be the plan. This is turning into more work than I thought it was going to be. Who knew that 3 fairing bases would be a problem? That having a rocket where 2/3 of it's fairing. I don't see what the problem is. Alright, this is the one. I think I said that the last 3 ones, though. Oh, empty the bottom tank first. Unfortunately, it's just one big tank, but that is true. I could decrease the flow priority. That's something to try. Yeah, I don't know if it'll make a huge difference because... oh, increase the flow priority. I'm doing it backwards. Because it is mostly just one big tank. I could split this into multiple tanks, but that's a very good suggestion in the chat. Fortunately, the mass, you can only get it up so much forward because there's not that much rocket here to deal with, right? Okay, so far so good. It's when this prograde just started. I really should be giving this more thrust at this point. So maybe that's the plan. So I'm gonna Control C, I think does this. S and lock the prograde. No, you stinker, lock the prograde. Don't you even... No! Back on the prograde vector. As soon as I went off, the SAS was off. Lock the prograde and go. We're here. We're back. We're back. That's not elegant, but we're back. That was when I knocked this off, and before I could get control of the rocket, let's lower our thrust here a little bit. We are pretty low in the atmosphere, unfortunately. So we can pitch up a little bit. Oh, I guess I just lost that stage. I'm assuming it knows what it's doing. More thrust. Fortunately, that little stunt left us a little low in the atmosphere, but if I can get this into orbit after all this nonsense... Okay, let's lose... Now, let's hang on to the fairing... I don't know. Weight versus aerodynamics. It's a lot of weight. Let's lose it. Oh, shoot! I just staged every probe. I'm so in... Oh my gosh, terminate. So what happened there? I went to deploy the fairings, and instead of hitting the 5 action group, I hit the stage button, which staged every probe. Every probe. You know what we're going to do? I'm tired of this taking as long as it is. What's it like? I'm going to warp to daylight, because I think it's still nighttime outside. We're going to do it. It wasn't so much a staging thing, but what I did is I put the fairings onto an action group because that's what the program likes. And then, but I like staging. But I have to remember that it's not in the staging. That was funny. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to click on this. We're going to grab the Octo. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. Whatever. We're going to live with what happens. It's only money. The Octo 25B is our craft. We're going to launch this. Okay, so here we go. Now we can see it in the glory of the daylight. No more reverts. Okay, so again, the SAS doesn't... You know what? I think it's better to keep the throttle off at this point. I think that was part... Maybe not. Let's put this at half throttle. It puts the throttle back when I abort the program, but it doesn't put the SAS on. That's what I noticed there. Okay. Now we can see it in all of its glory. All of its glory. And, I see the chat. Oh shoot, we're live. We are live. And also we are doing this launch. This is not a simulation. This is the launch. If stuff goes wrong, stuff goes wrong. But I don't care. I got lots of money. See, I can throw money away. 3.7. This is the Elon Musk strategy of just sort of, let's just do it and see what happens and learn. Right? But he has, you know, it's great when you have all that money. All right. Hello, Javier, and welcome. Okay, now I am going to have to, especially once we get around the 25 kilometer range, that's when my script starts to have issues. It's actually when it reduces that throttle. That's the part I think it's reducing that throttle too early. That's my humble opinion. Put this on here. Okay. So I'm going to get ready to abort this script. I'm going to try and get this thing into orbit. I'm going to remember not to try and stage the fairings. You know, I never even tested the deployment of the fairings. That itself could be a disaster for all I know. This is turning into a ill-conceived... Okay, now this is where it gets into trouble, right? Because now its thrust is too low. So what we're going to do... Yeah, its thrust is too low. So what we're going to do is we're going to go Control-C. There! Lock the prograde, lock the prograde. Oh, yeah! Oh, yeah! Yes, 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 yes! More thrust, more thrust, more thrust. Oh my gosh, I did that fast enough. I did it fast enough. Okay, I want to pitch up just a little bit. Not a lot though. Because we're still, it's a little low in the atmosphere. But oh boy. It wants to flip around backwards. It really, really does. Okay, I just lost that stage. That was a smart part that did that. All right. We're coming out of this. I'm going to remember not to stage the fairing, that the fairings are done with action group 5, I believe is what they should be set to. So we're going to lock this now onto prograde. start reducing this thrust a little bit. Lord, you know what? I'm so close to 80 kilometers. I think my better plan is to hang on to the fairings for now and let's ride out of the atmosphere with them. So we'll be cutting this throttle pretty soon. Well, actually, no. We're at almost at... Okay, 5, not stage, 5. Woo! Okay, I never put on clamshell deploy, so that's a good thing. Hey! Okay. Further than we've ever gone before. See, all I had to do is get out of simulation mode, do it for real, and really, that forced me to think about what I'm doing here. Okay. So I'm almost at 80 kilometers on the apoapsis. Got it. Okay. Lights on. Almost out of the atmosphere where aerodynamics no longer matter. So that was a pretty ugly deploy. There we are. We'll put on some stuff here. I should have an antenna here too, right? That came out. Yep, right? Somewhere in here is an antenna. I know it's just a little fella, but there it is. Yep. Okay, coming up to, yeah, we're a minute from, just over a minute. It's the advantage. The advantage is doing this for realsies. Well, you know, pseudo realsies. Okay, I'm just going to keep this locked on the prograde, and we're just going to got minus 200 on the periapsis because I did have a lot of throttle there at the end. I wasn't, and we'll just start pushing this up. Ooh, I don't know how many ignitions are on this fella. 21. Okay, that's good. That is good. More thrust, more thrust. Pitch up a bit. Getting too close to apoapsis. There we go. Lock that back on the prograde probably again. May not be the prettiest orbit, but it's going to be what it's going to be. Good enough. More than good enough, in fact. Okay. I am pleased with that. Now, what do we got? We got 563 meters per second, and according to my math, I only need 422 to get this job done. So that is making me feel pretty good.